All right. How is everyone doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine, Principal Worldwide Evangelist for Adobe Creative Cloud. And once again, I am joined today for part 2 of 2 ways to edit a photo with the amazing Anna McNaught.
Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
So good to see you again, Anna. And we had so much fun yesterday. It was so awesome to see you kind of really work your magic on your images. And I was telling someone last night, I was saying, now talking about converting things and making sort of daylight shots into nighttime. I said this was really the ultimate stream for that, because you went with a lot of old school classic techniques, a couple new
Oh,
ones in there too, but it was really a really wonderful way to kind of just understand again some of the kind of fundamentals of like compositing in Photoshop and classic blend mode techniques, and a lot of things you can do with masking and clipping masks, not using vignettes to bring focus. Again, just a lot of really good, solid techniques that I think anyone can benefit from. And it was
thank
just
you.
wonderful to see you do it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun. We had a lot of fun on the stream yesterday, and it seemed like people really liked it and got a lot of nice messages from people and some comments saying that they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, of course, as always, we've got a nice international audience coming to us from today. So hello to Sean and Robert and Wade and Ariana, Rose. What's up, Paco? And Zuzana, Steve Festus, Casaboom, Calixta, Gus Martin is here, Richard Lindley, Lorianne, Pablo Gomez. Hey, PT, what's up? PT maybe is also sticking around for us. He was just before us, Paul Tranny.
Oh,
Anna,
hi,
so,
Paul.
yeah. Hunter Squad, Wade, and Jasmine Delish. Great to see you. Okay, so now I know yesterday before we get started, I'm going to show up the schedule in a second, but we were talking about today leveraging some Adobe stock imagery, right, for the
Yes.
creations that you're going to work on.
Yes.
Super cool. And your concept for doing this was that you don't necessarily have to be a photographer to be able to do, beautiful composites for a client, whether it's, for a travel client or anything like that. You can generally find the stuff you need in stock and really create something that's unique. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because I find that I was saying yesterday, I use stock a lot. I just had my screen go black. Can you still hear me?
Oh yeah, you're still there.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Lost my
Mhm.
signal on the other
Yeah.
screen. So I use stock a lot in my work, and sometimes I end up taking stuff on my own, but stock is a great option if you can't get to a place, or you're not able, or maybe you're just not a photographer and you want to still edit and create lots of things for clients or for yourself. And so we're going to get into that today.
Awesome. And yeah, and like case in point, yesterday, those windows that you pulled, they just worked so amazingly, and initially I know you started out, you're like, well, these are kind of cartoony windows, too bright, too lit,
Yeah.
and it just magically came together. It was so
Thanks.
great. So I'm
Yeah, it's
excited
so
to see it.
fun.
So just so everyone is informed here, here's our schedule for today. So you've got us for the next 2 hours approximately. Then at 11:30 Pacific, we've got Julia coming up with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. 12 Pacific time, branding and identity design with Julia and Lena. At 2 p.m. Pacific, XD Daily Creative Challenge with Howard Pinsky. Kyle will be back at 2:30 today with the draw along. And wrapping up the day at 3 p.m. Pacific, we've got Voodoo Val and Sosa Micah with the design off. So you want to stick around for those. Lots of amazing, inspiring artists, creators, and content here on Adobe Live. So thank you so much for joining. And I'll tell you what, Anna, with all the stuff you did yesterday, we nailed the timing too. Props to that. You designed and finished your design in an hour and 54 minutes or something. It was so great.
It definitely still needed a lot more work. And as I was saying yesterday, we could have put hours into it, but we at least got to a semi-finished point, and I feel like it looked pretty good.
It was fantastic. And I think we should kick right in. So if you're ready.
I just need a quick tech second because I lost my second screen. So
okay. Give yourself a tech second.
Okay.
I'll continue saying hello. Thank you, Sean Cassell. Loving the energy. I'm glad. It was a little manic moments ago, but we won't go into that. Jim Borgo, how are you? Richard Adams from Toronto. Nice to see you. All right. And Paul is watching. Hey, PT, what's up? Rajesh T, Julio G, Megan Kissel, nice to see you. Matt Grundy. All right. And of course, over here on the YouTubes, you've got Kev Sart. Nice to see you as well. Want to remind everybody, of course, that I am following the live Behance chat. So if you want to be right where my eye line is, join us at behance.net/Adobe Live or b.net/live and get in on that chat. That's where most of our mods are there. I know we've got a few. We've got Wade over on the YouTube side, but I am following the Behance chat. So whenever you tell me you are ready.
I think I'm good. Looks like we're back.
To go?
I
All
texted
right.
James, panic, come in. And I figured it out myself. So girl power.
Love it. That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready whenever you are.
And funny you mentioned girl power, because some may not recall, but that phrase was very popular in the late 90s, courtesy of
Spice Girls.
Now, one might think, what a strange thing for a 46-year-old gray-haired Gandalf-looking long-haired man like myself to be aware of. I love that we also did that in unison, by the way. One more reason that I feel so close to you, and you're awesome.
Yes.
No, because that is and always has been my message. Girl power.
I love it. It's awesome.
Love it. Awesome. I love that you know that too. The Spice Girls, they were amazing.
Oh my God, they were my life. I was Spice Girls everything. I was Scary Spice for Halloween one year. I had all the Barbies. I watched the movie over and over and over. I was like beyond obsessed. And I follow their page on Facebook now to keep up if they do any new tours and everything.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, yeah. And they did the one, right? It was, was it 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
Or a year ago? Yeah, I was very upset that it was supposed to be bigger, and they didn't. I don't know if they wound up coming to the US. I think they only did Europe, right? Or only did the UK even.
Yeah, I remember there was something with it where I was like, yeah, I definitely can't go to that. So
yeah, it was a bummer. But yeah, I mean, I even went to see Spice World in the movies.
Yes. Oh
yes.
Man, I can't remember if I did. I think I was too young at the time, but I know we got the VHS tape and watched it over and over. My cousin and I would do like dances, and it was the best.
I never did the dances. I will say that. I want to be very clear about that. But I loved their message. I love the whole thing. They were awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sean Cassell, there's a movie? Yes. Spice World. Sir Elton John is in the movie. I mean, it's
so good.
It's a fantastic movie. Thank you, Steve, for saying that the studio's looking good. Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of renovations. I was telling Anna. So things are changing around here. But yes and no, that is no green screen. And yes, that's my Moog and my classic Juno 106 back there, and some other stuff over here. Okay, Anna, we have designing to do. Let's stop talking about the Spice Girls, and
we could talk forever.
We could talk forever. I love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring your screen up here. This is where we kind of left off yesterday with the pre-treated version of our magical little island home in Lake Winnipesaukee, New Hampshire.
Yep. I wanted to do a quick little recap of just what we did for anyone that was on or anyone that missed it and wants to go back and watch day one. We took this drone picture from Lake Winnipesaukee, and we edited it slightly similar to this one. I actually had reset the drone picture, but very similar, just in a classic edited style, kind of the way we edit our travel photos over on Leave the Map. And then after that, Jason and I took it into Photoshop, and then we turned it into kind of this cool, dreamy night scene. And so we got, maybe I would say about halfway, we added like a final kind of color filter to it. And you can notice there's still some things we need to do with the reflection and kind of cleaning up some areas where it's adding a bit more glow here. But that's something I might play around with later. So I pointed yesterday was showing you guys that you can really go from kind of this drab looking image that was a cloudy, moody day, which is cool in itself, and then turn it into this really beautiful lifestyle travel photo, and then turn it into this piece of art.
Yeah, that's just it's so good. And again, just you see the original, you really think you're just not going to be able to pull out those kind of colors, those kind of tones. And as we emphasized yesterday, you really can, and you can even, use the assistance of some of the tools in Photoshop and Lightroom to bring out things that you didn't really realize that were there, especially if you're shooting in RAW, right? A little more difficult to achieve the same look and color density and depth and variety if you've got a low data rate JPEG. But if you're shooting RAW, you've got great stuff to work with. You're going to have some great exports as well.
Yep, exactly.
Nice.
So today we're going to get into using stock photography and playing with that, as we mentioned at the beginning. So we can dive right in if you guys are ready.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see. Just going to close Lightroom. my Photoshop nice and big here.
Want to remind everyone too now, and of course, Anna, I'll let you do your thing while you're going to stock. If you are new to working with stock imagery and you're not quite ready to say license images for payment, that is, we also have Adobe Stock Free. So stock.adobe.com/free, over 77,000 images, vectors, and videos. Phenomenal free content. I was saying to Anna yesterday, I used it for one of the recent video daily creative challenges based around Rush. All the content was from Adobe Stock Free. Really great stuff there. And like the images you're seeing right here, I mean, there's just really impressive content in stock. And don't forget that you too can become a stock contributor. So if you're not already, you can even upload them directly from Lightroom.
Yep. Yep. I was going to add that in too today and talk about how doing that can become such a great source of passive income for people. And we actually talk about that a lot in like our mastermind, and some of the things that James and I have taught people in the past is that there are so many different forms of passive income. And I know for many people, stock has become a big one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My colleague Terry, who you know real well.
Yeah.
Terry is he's a stock master. I mean, he's got a pretty massive, and he would probably tell you it's actually a fairly small catalog compared to some who are really, really active on there. But he's got several thousand images on there.
Wow.
And I think he does kind of a, every couple days or once a week, kind of just goes through the shots and goes, okay, this is a good one. Yeah, let's just go. You have nothing to lose, right?
Right.
If it doesn't get chosen, you can't monetize it. If it does, it's just sitting there waiting to, again, passively earn some money for you. It's
so
just
true.
wonderful. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. I should actually start doing that. I know James does it a little bit, but I mean, we have over 25,000 photos in our Lightroom, and that's not even half of what we actually have on the drives. Yep. So I'm like, we should definitely do it more often.
I mean, it's a single click out of Lightroom. And here's the amazing thing, when it gets to the stock kind of holding area, because you have to just like give it a title and verify the metadata, but the metadata tagging, all the keywords is done for you via Adobe Sensei.
Oh,
so you don't even have to keyword the images. What it does is Sensei goes out, it looks at your image, it analyzes it against all of the other 60 million that we have and says, oh, this is a house, this is snow, these are mountains, there are trees, Christmas trees, lighting, water, snow banks, and then you can remove certain, it's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. It's such a good thing.
I love how all of the Adobe programs keep getting smarter and smarter, and everything just kind of like does it for you. Because I think as creatives, as humans in general, we're busy all the time and trying to keep track of everything, trying to do everything, and let alone keyword an image. Right. That's a game changer.
that's always been, but that's kind of like my kryptonite, doing all the even for YouTube videos. Like that just, I don't know why that pains me so. I'll edit for 7 hours straight without water, but if I have to put keywords on something, I don't know. And it's a different way of thinking too. You have to think about, if I'm searching for this, what words, what terms would I use? Right?
Yep. Exactly.
Snowy mountain lodge, whatever. And all of those words should be in there. You have to think like someone who'd be searching for stock.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I found this one actually by typing in cabin on a lake, I think. And so as you can see from yesterday's image, I clearly have an obsession with these cabins on a lake. And actually, when I was debating about doing this image today, I was like, oh, well, are people going to not like that we did kind of something similar yesterday? But this one, we're going to turn into a much different scene. We're going to actually give it some like pink clouds and stars and Christmas tree lights and like have a lot of fun with it. And then I also saved a few other images from stock. Actually, let's bring them up here. Just go so everyone's not seeing my files. So we have this girl on a swing here, and another picture in Canada too of a lake. Again, I guess there's a common theme here.
Anna's a water sign, apparently.
I'm actually a fire sign.
Oh, there you go.
Sagittarius, but
nice. Okay.
I just, there's something that I love about lakes. I think because I grew up on a pond, which is actually kind of more of the size of a lake. We spent every single day swimming and boating, and that's kind of James and my home base right now. So water has definitely always been a big element of my life.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm an earth, I'm a desert creature. I'm an earth sign.
Yes.
True. No water, no precipitation of any kind. Dirt
Just
and rocks.
Dry.
That's right. So we hide under a cactus.
Yep. So yeah, I have this that we could work on afterwards, just for something different. And we're going to be kind of taking this image and doing a little bit of a similar tweak as we did yesterday. If you are just a classic lifestyle photographer or editor and you want to kind of take an image from Adobe stock and edit it in your way, we're going to get into that a little bit. And then again, turning this into a composite. But I wanted to work on this other one first because I think it will be really fun, especially because we have Christmas coming up and the holidays, and it's kind of like snowy vibes, and we can talk about all sorts of fun little elements within this piece.
Excellent. Okay, let's go for it.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is just crop it. That's what we did yesterday too. I kind of like to start there. And I end up always cropping everything vertically. And so sometimes I'll just come up into the ratio and do a 4:5. And mainly I do that because I'm always sharing my work on Instagram, and that is the ratio of Instagram.
Right. Okay. That's something that, I think people are more intimately aware of, even non-pro photographers, which actually speaks to this, right? We're coming from, if you didn't photograph this, right, or you're not really a photographer, but you're creating this kind of art, aspect ratios,
Yeah.
It's even my kids are sort of intimately aware of like 9:16 vertical for like TikTok and stuff versus 4:5 for Instagram. I'm like, how do you know that? What do you? Wow, school is awesome. Oh, you didn't learn that in school. All right.
I know. I'm like, can they just make it all the same so that I don't have to be like, I gotta resize this.
Right. Yeah. And don't even get started with the video. There's like 74,000 aspect ratios.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh wow, look at this.
Yes. So I just really like these clouds. This is also from Adobe stock, and we could go in and get some new stuff from Adobe stock too, just so you can see kind of the process that I go through. But I'm just going to open this one, and then I found another snowy night scene, but I'm just going to actually be using the stars from this. And I've never used either of these stock images, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Both of those were making me think too that they both would be great candidates. We were talking about the new sky replacement in Photoshop.
Yeah.
You can import we give you a whole bunch of different skies. Of course, you can import your own. So it would be interesting to see, like that. You were talking about the pink sky, to see how it would do with masking the tree line and the mountain line.
I'd love to actually try that today. But although you're going to have to teach me a little bit too.
Okay.
I haven't done it yet, but I did want to, after we do that, I want to show everyone kind of like an old school way that I use to cut out the trees too.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I say, let's do that first. Because
let's start with it. Get warmed up, get ready to go.
That's right. All right. Okay. So we've got our crop.
All right. So let's see. How do we get started with the sky? Do you know? I don't even know.
Oh, do you want to start with sky replacement?
Oh yeah. Do you want to do that, or should we get started with the other stuff?
Yeah, do the other stuff first, because
cool.
I think that's, again, I don't want to change your workflow yet. Well, we can do that as a secondary thing.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. Trying to remember where I wanted to go with this. I actually have been to this place. It's on Emerald Lake in Yoho National Park in British Columbia. And James and I went there a couple of years ago, and there were no lights on inside. It was totally just like abandoned. And I think it's actually a restaurant. So this place was just like absolutely beautiful, so magical, a landscape around it. The water's usually turquoise in the summer, and I'm sure you guys have seen like countless pictures from this place. And when we got home, I loved all of the photos, but I just was like, it's missing something. And so based on what we did yesterday, you could, of course, add the glow in, but there's always something that is missing when it's not actually the real image. So at that point, I went on Adobe stock and typed in I think I may have typed in Emerald Lake, British Columbia, because I was looking for this exact image and I found this. I was like, perfect. Okay. Even though I have my own photos of it, this is exactly what I was looking for.
Okay, sweet.
All right. So first thing I'm going to do is just add some color balance here and start to get it kind of into the realm of the colors that I want. And I always end up adding a little bit of magenta and a little bit of blue, sometimes cyan. And we're just kind of playing with how this is going to look. I end up playing around a lot with stuff and then just being like, never mind, I don't actually want that.
Right.
And, you know, you try things out. And sometimes, I mean, to be honest with you, what I might actually do, I'm just going to turn this off for now.
Okay.
Usually I end up using camera raw at the end. As we did yesterday, we actually started the photo in Lightroom. And we could do that today, but because this is stock, I usually don't put stock into my Lightroom library. I keep that clean with just my photos and keep stock in Photoshop. I don't know why, but just something I end up doing. So I might start with just like a base edit in camera raw. And so we can start there.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Like all over the place today with it.
Yeah, no, I like it, but I think that too, right? That's sometimes how you go with these kinds of designs. You're like, so many things I want to do. Let's start this. Yeah, yesterday we didn't introduce camera raw till way later in the process.
Right,
so.
exactly. I end up like kind of knowing where I want to go with it, but it's always like, how am I getting started? You know, and then once you're in it, it all starts to flow.
Yep, absolutely.
So I think what I'm going to do here in camera raw is just kind of like a very simple color correction and putting it into kind of the color realm that I'm interested in for the style of this. Of course, if you guys wanted like a different look or you're not really into like the blues and the purples, then you can take it in like a warmer palette too.
Okay. Yeah. Already this kind of has a slight feel of your signature imagery too. Like if you had told me you shot this or did this, I'd be like, oh, that totally looks like something you and James would have worked on. Like would need a lot.
I always I think I gravitate towards images like that because, you know, I guess everyone ends up kind of picking things maybe on stock and photographing things that you're like, oh yeah, that's my style.
Yep, exactly. And I see you're delving back into the color grading sliders again, which is awesome. Again, newly added as of the max release a month ago.
Yeah. I mean, this thing is so powerful. I haven't even had a chance to really like experiment with it, but slowly starting to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the beauties of all of the Adobe programs is, and especially with Photoshop, is there's always something that you can learn no matter what level you're at in your profession and your career. Like you can literally learn something new every second of every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There's never a shortage of things. And especially, I mean, in Photoshop, I don't remember, someone somewhere did a thing recently about like all of the features. They listed the number of features. I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
An insane number of things that it can do. You know?
I remember when I first started learning Photoshop in high school in my graphics class, and we were all like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And like asking our teacher. And he's like, you know, you can't even get a book on the number of different ways that you can do things in Photoshop because the book would be like this thick.
Right. To do the same thing 300 different ways. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And that's why like Adobe Live is so cool, because you get to see, you know, the same person who again does a clipping mask or whatever, you know, 10 different ways to even do something, a process like that, or for, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Everybody does it a little bit differently. So
yeah,
it's always a joy.
It's really cool. So I just added a radial filter here, and I'm just kind of darkening the background away from the house. And then we're going to go in and start to add a few brush strokes in here. So I'm pretty much doing exactly what I did yesterday in Lightroom when we started on the cabin on Lake Winnipesaukee, did the same exact thing. And so just doing it the same over here.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, after seeing you yesterday, so again, sort of radial filter and these kinds of, are these kind of these are your go-tos, I'm guessing, for a lot
Yeah.
of things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I end up using a lot of these just because it kind of allows me to do that paint with light thing that we were talking about yesterday, and kind of controlling areas that the light is hitting. And actually, one of my good friends, Life with Elliot, he is a really amazing photographer, a really amazing editor. And we sat down together in Great Sand Dunes in Colorado, and he was showing us our editing process. And a lot of the stuff he does with his photos is just like really going in and painting in Lightroom or Photoshop with these brushes and these radial filters and controlling it. And a lot of the big travel photographers where their photos are just like incredible, so much of it has to do with this little like brush technique.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I can just remember the first time I sort of became comfortable with doing it. I was aware of it, but I was like, I don't know. I'm just not, I was like intimidated to even try it.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it opens things up once you just kind of start using it and just experimenting,
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. It's very relaxing too. It's kind of, I mean, I grew up with an art background and painting, and I've always been kind of into different types of arts and mediums. And so when I started learning some of these painting techniques in Photoshop, it felt like very natural and like what I just want to do in there versus some of the more technical things of, the way people will cut things out, even with the pen tool or something. I'm like, no, I'm going to spend 8 more hours hand brushing it.
Right. And that's because I want to. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to click OK.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
and
look at that.
Look at the difference there. So that's just with a little bit of camera raw editing.
I mean, again, just a fundamental difference there. And yet preserving, there's the essence of, again, the light in the house. And you preserved a lot of what was already there, but you just completely changed the mood. This actually, now seeing that original photo, it looks drab. It looks actually gloomy.
Yeah.
It looked very holiday warm before. It actually looks gloomy now.
I know, isn't
to the one you just did.
It's so funny. It's crazy when you can see the before and the after. And, I mean, this is definitely a style of many people. And I know James tends to go more towards like the warmer colors,
warmer tones.
Talking about yesterday. And I think that's cool. I like this look too, for different purposes. But for my style, I definitely tend to go with like this look.
And anyone who's watching right now, if you're looking at the border and what's beneath us, those are some of Anna's work. And then my lighting, we tried to match our lighting scheme. If you look at my floor and at the ceiling and Anna, we've got the same purple hue going on here. Definitely a signature look.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. I love it. So fun. So this was kind of our color balance that we started with before. And so I think doing camera raw sometimes is a bit more powerful, just giving you more control. So I'm going to just delete this for now. And then let's start to get into some of the sky stuff that I would normally do. And then maybe we can play with sky replacement.
Well, here, if you want to do, I'll tell you what, why don't we do sky replacement real quickly?
Okay.
Just to kind of show it to you. You don't have to use it, but I'll just, so real simple. So if you just go up to the edit menu and you're on the right layer there, you should see sky replacement about 2/3 down. Yeah, there you go. And it's, again, Adobe Sensei. So if you just move that dialog out of the way, it'll just auto detect and it should find your sky. Taking a moment here. I see it's still thinking. Masking.
Pinwheel of death. Ooh.
Pinwheel of life. Now, next to the sky. Sorry, I got you there. I almost spit out your water. Now, if you go to the sky image there, that little that little arrow, you'll see there's the pinkish hues if you scroll down. So you're in a blue sky folder. Oh, it looks like it's also loading the folders. Maybe, you haven't opened this feature yet. So yeah. So there's some of the skies that, could really kind of match the hues that you were just working with.
Wow.
Right? And if you move that dialogue out of the way, I mean, just to kind of show you the detail, look at the detail around the trees and how it's actually affecting even more of the image. And you can see, you can even paint in areas like if you needed reflection of that sky, in more of the mountain to add realism. You can paint along the edge there. I'm just even looking at the detail along the tree line right there. It's
Wow.
pretty stunning.
That's amazing. I'm like
Right?
very, very impressed. Like I've seen this happen before on screen and stuff, but I
Right.
haven't actually had the chance to try it yet. And I don't know why I haven't. Now I'm just gonna sit here in silence playing around.
I'm not gonna lie to you. After seeing Terry demo this, Terry White, I spent easily, I say spent, it's more like lost. I lost 2 or 3 hours just going through all these old images that had terrible skies where I did manual mask sky replacement around tree lines that, was okay, but whatever.
Yeah.
This is like shockingly good.
Wow.
And again, even if it doesn't get you all the way there, I haven't found one yet where it just didn't look good at all. I can imagine
Right.
there might be some instances, yes, depending upon the tree, whatever the background is, maybe it doesn't blend quite as well. There's always that possibility. Just like with anything, just like with content aware, we were talking about this yesterday. But in general, oh yeah, oh look at that little
Yeah, I
temperature
love that you
adjustment.
can
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It really brings it to life. So again, just wanted to show that to you. You don't have to use this now, but it's here. And then I think in that same drop down menu, that's where you can also add your own skies. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, you see
Okay.
that. Yeah, yeah. So again,
Okay.
if you had a particular image or one of those stock images, you can import that. It'll extract, and then you can also move it around.
Oh wow.
So
And it
yeah.
gives us actually
And then
a
you
layer
have
mask.
everything. Absolutely. So you can always see again the before and after, and then you can further tweak the mask. You can further tweak the actual image of the sky.
I love
It's
it.
it's pretty amazing. And yet no one's even. I see two comments about that. People they're speechless now because they couldn't even believe it did
I
such a good job. Yeah, I mean, look at that.
wow. It's crazy how it does. I'm just like, I'm like sad, I'm upset, and I'm also like so happy about it because I'm upset because I've spent so many years and so much time cutting out trees and
Right.
editing and also teaching my students in my courses how to cut out trees. And
Oh
now
yeah.
I'm like,
Now, again, let's not forget, of course, and we do have all of these new selection options, right? You've got, select subject. You have select sky also under the select
right.
menu. You didn't notice
Yeah.
that? Yeah. So
Yes.
select sky, select subject, focus area, color range. We've improved all of that. So making selections, people still need to know the new practices because they are,
Right.
yes, they're assisted and they're better. And look, I can remember doing tree cutouts, hair cutouts. I mean,
Oh,
anyone who's done anything in Photoshop has dealt with hair at some point in time.
yeah. Yeah.
And it was a terribly painful process, even 5-6 years ago.
I know.
And
I look at hair sometimes and I'm like, "Oh god." And then I
yeah,
remember that we do have some new
that's
improvements now.
right. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
yeah, so I'll just show one of the methods that I've used in the past, and some of you guys may know this, but for me, it works pretty well when we're doing something that has a lot of contrast going on between the sky and the foreground. Now we can clearly see that the sky replacement works just as well, but we'll test it out. And then I just hid the layer with the sky replacement so we can kind of
Yep.
compare which one
Sure.
maybe does a better job. So what you're going to do is go to channels, and then you're going to look for the channel that has the most contrast between your foreground and your background, or your sky.
Right.
So let's see. I think I'm going to actually go with this one because the trees are looking really dark and the sky is looking bright.
Really white. Yep.
So we're just going to go and copy that. And then we're going to come in with, I'm going to start with the burn tool. I'm going to make sure I have shadows and exposure up to 100%. And then I'm just going to start to paint in these trees a little. And actually, first what I'm going to do is go to levels. I just did Command L there and start to actually bring this back a little bit to brighten up those whites and darken the blacks.
Oh yeah, nice.
And so I kind of end up going back and forth between the dodge tool and the burn tool here. And I'm going to be putting this in highlights and 100%. And so what you're trying to do is like build your mask essentially.
Right. Right. And really trying to create that contrast so that the mask is accurate and just looks right against that background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works better than other times and depends on, you know, how careful you are and which order you go with these steps too. Sometimes like what I just did now, I started with the burn tool, but if I start with levels, sometimes it works better. Then you can paint it in too, and then kind of clean it up later. So,
Oh yeah.
And then once you kind of get the edge mostly filled in.
And that's just so people understand who are kind of tuning in now. That's what we're going for. You're really just trying to make those edges as defined as possible, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then we can go in with a black brush here, just paint the rest of this out. And you don't have to do this. You can always do this on your layer mask.
Sure.
I'm just doing
but
it
you
now.
know that's the area that's not going. You're right. You're not. We're really concerned with the white area here, so we don't need to see any of this other bit. It should ideally this is what the mask would look like if you were. It's actually pretty similar to what it looked like with the sky replacement. So, yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we're going to command click on the layer here, and we're going to go back to our layers panel, and we are going to add a layer mask. And we have to actually have our sky in here. So let me gather that. It's going to place this.
I love that image. That's a fantastic image. Oh, wow. Yeah. Look at that. It's just.
Yes. It's a little sloppy, but we can definitely clean it up and kind of sometimes what I like to do is just really do an overall blending of it too and kind of start to kind of fade it into the background. But I definitely love this sky, and I'd be curious to take this sky and put it into the sky replacement.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So here's the sky replacement that we did before, and then here's the one we just did manually by hand. So let's actually try, let's see.
And you know, as I'm looking at this, and it could be, I'm just gonna have you go full screen, so we won't see your face for a second. But it's, I mean, you actually you gave yourself a bit of a challenge because some of the mountain, actually, if you look at the tree that's right on top of, or it's not on top of, behind the cottage. To the left or right, the edges of the mountain there have so much white snow. They're almost blending in with the background. So the edges, it's a little softer, right? You get you made it harder for yourself.
I know.
With this particular one. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I know. Good times, right?
Yeah. That's it. But that's what we love.
Yeah.
Seeing you combat that issue, you know.
I know. I'll be sitting here like,
Also, are you still doing this on the touchpad today?
Yeah, I'm doing it on my little laptop trackpad.
That's insane already. So, you know, you just get automatic props for even attempting that.
I know. I end up just using it so much because especially with traveling a lot, being on the go, like I end up not wanting to set up a mouse or even, I know obviously I can do it on my iPad now, but because I've been using my laptop for Photoshop for over 10 years. And it's just like that's second nature now to sit here like this big.
Right.
It's, you know, the tech people are like, what are you doing? But whatever works.
Whatever works. Jessica's asking, was that other image she used for the sky found in Adobe stock? So one came from, so the one that she used was from Adobe stock, and the sky replacement ones, they actually may be in Adobe stock as well, but they just ship directly inside of Photoshop. And again, you can always add your own. You can add the stock images that you license, whatever you want.
Yeah, I want to try adding our own here that we got. And so I found that Adobe stock sunset. I think I typed in pastel sunset.
Oh, nice. Okay. Again, so like I love you saying what search terms you use. But this is so key, right? That's how you have to think. Like you can't just do sky. I need a sky. You're going to get 40 million skies, you know?
Yeah.
You really need to, and then you have to think about what's what's more likely to be found directly for what you're looking for, and that's how you have to keyword your own stuff too. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Oh
So
yeah,
this actually did a really nice job.
yeah, yeah.
I really like how that's looking,
I
and
do
way
too.
easier.
Mhm. And you saw when you hover your mouse over the actual image, I believe then you can just move it right on screen, right? You just
Oh
pick up the
yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
pick it up and move it around. Now, of
Nice.
course, yeah, it'll depending on the width, you may have to
Right.
adjust
So
accordingly.
okay, cool. So we can see these trees are changing as we shift the
Shift
edge.
the edge. Yep, exactly. And it's pretty
And
dramatic. I mean, again, considering the kind of mask that it's doing pretty quickly. Also, if you notice, it took less time. This time when you brought in the new image, it didn't have to
yeah,
reconfigure
didn't have
again.
to think about it.
Hmm.
Let's see. Can I move this? Okay, good. All right. I'm going to just adjust that. And let's see here. I'm going to turn that off. Okay, so here's the one that we did by hand. And you can see that our trees are a little bit choppier, but in some ways, maybe that's good.
Hmm.
And then we have some weird like stippling happening in here. And then it's not that one, this one. Turn that background on. So you can see that Adobe Sensei did a really good job of making this look nice and natural. And then we don't have that stippling there. So
Right.
Adobe for the win, Anna.
Woohoo, Sensei. No, come on now. No, but but that's one of the things. So when you were adjusting like the fade, it's exactly what you're talking about. So again, because you have that soft white edge along the mountain there that's really kind of blurred into that bluish background originally. Sensei did a pretty good job as you were adjusting that fade to just maintain the realism without having that stippling and kind of making it look a bit
Definitely.
more artifacted. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, let's see, the only thing I don't like that's happening here is this lighting effect. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And I don't think we need that foreground color. Just kind of seeing what happens when we get rid of some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those are just the extra little pieces that I added. It made it an adjustment layer, which is pretty cool.
So Royan Descartes asks, replacing the sky in PS with its AI sky tool, is that still considered fair? We were talking about this yesterday, right?
Yeah.
It's fair if you're doing a composite, and as Anna mentioned, she's a digital compositing artist. Like, she's known for doing this kind of work. That's legit, right? If you're doing a travel photo of this location,
and yeah, probably not.
Probably not. And that's going to be on you, how where does your moral compass
I
lie?
know.
You've seen it. We were laughing about this yesterday, Roy. We were saying, some of these stories about some influencers around the world who do like travel blogs, travel vlogs, and were using sky replacement for all these locations, and they were using the same sky in all of these destination locales and got busted.
That was bad.
It's bad. It's bad for them. It's bad for the businesses they're working with. Yeah. So,
yeah.
But if that's your thing, it's as legit as anything,
Yeah, I think it definitely is tough when you're doing like a sky replacement like this, because you'd be like, I went to Emerald Lake and it was so beautiful and the sunset was epic, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, no, you didn't actually see that. And
Right.
I mean, and I've had people in some of my composites. It's actually, I talked about this on the last stream that I did, which is so important. In some of my composites, people have said, well, the sun actually wouldn't set in that direction based on the location that you're at, or the moon wouldn't be facing that way. And you have to actually start to think scientifically about how these things work. And that's such an important lesson as a compositor, and something I was like, that's true, even though I'm doing art, should actually work with science too.
Well, yes, because again, in the way that people have access now, there's someone, there's at least one who's going to study it and go, I know where this is. And right, totally wrong on the horizon there, right? Or sun, moon location. Nope, totally wrong, totally fake. Not legit, phony, cancel,
Photoshopped.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Right. Photoshopped, yes. Right. And Wade is making the point that obvious deception shouldn't be the goal, of course, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right. Yeah. But again, in the compositing world, in the movie world, in the digital art world, it's whatever, it's anything goes, because that's the goal there. You're as you said yesterday, you don't often see whales in the middle of New York City,
Right.
So, or whatever the reference was. Yeah. So, but that's because people are expecting the kind of art that you do,
Yeah.
Okay.
This is looking pretty cool.
It's looking pretty cool. Could we see the original again, just for reference?
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, wow.
There's the original.
Wow.
Then we did our color correction in Camera Raw. And then we added our new sky. Looking pretty cool.
Looking pretty cool.
All right. So something that I also like to do in the sky, and I'm sure you guys have seen this a lot in my photos, is adding stars back here. And technically talking about the scientific way of things, you wouldn't really see like a ton of stars at sunset, but it's just been a look that I've started to kind of really like and have fun playing with. So we could decide if we want to keep that or not. Ooh, look at that. It just went right in there.
Ooh.
Maybe I'm liking this even more.
Yeah, again, when I think of your signatures, this one, the other one, it felt signature too, but this, I mean, they both work. It's just, what can you say?
That is
choice.
Cool.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Okay, I'm done. Bye, guys. It was nice seeing you.
Thank you, Anna. Very nice to have you on today. Right.
I think, okay, we could maybe do this in a few minutes, but I think based on what we're going to do to the trees, I don't want to have too many twinkle stars because we're going to add Christmas lights to the trees. So, but we could, it's seeing interesting. Okay. Give me a second here.
Yeah. And for those of you just joining again, we are here with Anna McNaught, and we're working on photo compositing in Photoshop using Adobe stock images. Now, in about, I forgot, Anna. So we have a total of, we have just under an hour to go.
Oh, right.
And in the last 20 minutes of our session today, we're going to be doing a little, an artist spotlight segment on Behance artist Weston Fuller. So that'll be coming up in about 40 minutes or so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Just testing here. Sweet. Yeah. So that will be good. Just let me know when we're getting close.
I will indeed. Yeah, we got plenty of time. Okay. Plenty of time.
Cool. So I just moved the star layer back behind our copy that we're working on here. And whoops. Got to make sure I'm on the right layer. Right. So I added a layer mask, and I'm just going in with like a low flow brush. That's like one of the techniques I use all the time, is never really painting with a flow of 100. I'm always using really low, like 4 to 20%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I end up using flow more than opacity because I like with flow, you can get to 100%. But it's happening very, very slowly, just as it would if you were actually painting with watercolor or acrylic paint. Mainly more with watercolor is you're layering it and you're slowly getting there, and it's just adding, or in this case, subtracting. But you're still going to work up to 100%.
Yep. Yep. By the way, I see Pablo Gomez was saying, I noticed when using sky replacement that Sensei does not take into account reflections on the water, same as the image that you're working on. And yes, and actually when Terry first demoed this at Max, he had an image, there was no water, but there was reflection in windows in another part of the image. So again, using the same kind of paint technique that Anna showed you, and you can do this on different layers and there's different ways to do it, but you can kind of paint in some of what would be the color of the sky reflecting in that water.
Yeah.
And in this case, because it is kind of a night scene anyway, it wouldn't be quite as dramatic. But yes, you would see some of that, some of those magenta and yellowish, reddish hues, obviously kind of cascading into the water there. So that can all be done after the fact. But again, and as you showed yesterday, several different ways that you can also manually simulate those reflections too.
Yeah. I'd be curious to try that in the sky replacement to actually do the reflection. But I tend to, again, I didn't even like think of the reflection because I guess with my workflow, I tend to kind of like focus on the sky, get everything in place, and we're going to do some stuff to the trees. And then I would end up actually kind of flipping it and layer masking it and getting it and doing the reflection like last. Which maybe doesn't quite make sense, but I kind of...
It's what we did yesterday, though, and it worked great. So, yeah, that's what I was anticipating you doing. So.
I think a lot of times it's because throughout the time that I'm working on something, I'll change the sky like 6 times. I'll be like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. Actually, it's going to become now a star scene. And then if I had already done the reflection, it's like you're doing double the work.
Right.
Oh, my God. What am I doing? I'm painting on the layer. I'm just having so much fun chatting that I'm...
I know, right?
So I'm just pulling out some of these stars here. And then I actually have cloud brush. Let's see if I can get to it.
Soft clouds. Nice.
Here's my clouds.
Now, do you use these kinds of brushes often?
I use the cloud brush the most often. But and like hair brushes I use a lot too. But I end up not really using brushes like too much.
Right.
Let's see.
Yeah, and I like how you're keeping it kind of very subtle, and it's working nicely.
It's actually picking up. So this is interesting. From the sky replacement, when it's actually blending the 2 sky backgrounds together, like it's removing the layer mask and taking the sunset and blending it with the stars.
Right.
So that could be something we could work out because I would want the stars to kind of shine through nice and bright. Let me just copy this layer and I'm going to turn this off.
And Ferry's asking, where do you get the cloud brushes?
Good question. I'm not sure where that one came from. It was like a free download from somewhere. I'm sure Kyle Webb has.
I was going to say, I was going to ask you if they were Kyle's brushes. Yeah.
I'm sure he has some amazing ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know we didn't clean up this area the same way that the sky replacement did, but if I was adding stars in the background here, let me just make sure that that's placed correctly. For whatever reason, it's blending the stars with the background just based on the computer learning. But you can see, like, if I was actually doing this by hand with the sky replacement, then we can start to kind of create these 2 merging skies together.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong there or if it just whatever is happening. But
yeah, something to do with some of these masks are.
Yeah.
And I can't see all your layers. I'm not exactly sure, but that's okay. We're experimenting.
Yeah, we're playing around. Bring it up a little. So then you can kind of get the brightness of the stars up here.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like to do that. I like to do that effect where it's like peeking through.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
And again,
night is falling, right?
Yep.
So it's going to kind of make its way in.
So that wouldn't really necessarily be realistic, but it's art. We can do whatever we want.
Now, would you say, do you consider yourself like a surrealist creator? I mean, you do have a lot of surrealism in the composites that you make. So is that
Yeah.
like a term you use? Someone says,
Yeah.
describe yourself,
Definitely. I know it's always hard because I'm like, well, it's kind of a surreal fantasy type
fantasy, right?
stuff,
Yeah,
especially when I'm trying to describe it to someone who doesn't know Photoshop. Like normally
right.
with Adobe friends and stuff, I say, yeah, I'm a digital artist. I do like surreal fantasy composites. They're like, okay, sweet. And someone who doesn't get it, I'm like, well, it's fantasy, but it's not like dragons and fairies. It's like dreamlands and
Right. Right.
glowy things.
Right. Mushrooms and,
Yeah.
yeah, rabbits. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I'll
Yeah.
have to work on my description a little bit. But
Right.
okay, so it's looking pretty cool. We can come back in and tweak the sky and then add the reflection. But I want to add these little Christmas light things that I got. And I was looking everywhere on Adobe stock to find these, but I actually bought them from a friend of mine from, I think you say his name, Noise7. He's like a very popular like compositor like this. He does dreamy images as well, like landscapes. He has over 1 million followers, super awesome stuff. And he had like kind of a little pack that you could buy from him of like balloons and stars and Christmas lights and stuff. So I bought that from him a while ago and I use it all the time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But it kind of got me thinking because I was like, if you guys are photographers and want to make a little extra money, I noticed that Adobe stock doesn't have a lot of these little, it's almost like bokeh, but it's kind of more like fairy dust or something.
Yep. And there you once again tapped into one of the things that you can do if you're looking to get into like that stock game and having that side hustle. Search for things where there aren't lots of results. I can tell you right now, again, this relates to what you're seeing behind me, but I needed videos of, like people playing synthesizers, keyboards for something I was doing a while back.
Yeah.
Yes, I could have filmed myself doing it, but I was like, I'll just grab it from stock. It's, why not? And I found a couple hundred, not a lot, but a decent variety. However, there wasn't a lot of variety because almost half of them were from the same person. And it was like one very modern synthesizer. So I was looking for like classic, 1981 monophonic knobs, buttons. Not a lot of that stuff up there. And curiously, so I shot some of my own and immediately sold them.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a great thing. It's like, there's not a lot of like pixie dust, fairy dust, bokeh style, glistening lights. However you title it, you'd have to see how others were titled. But that's something you could do and, suddenly start selling that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Cause I was wondering, I was typing in like fairy dust and I was typing in glitter and I just couldn't quite find something that I liked. And I was like, this could be good for someone.
It's a good opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you guys go. Your $1 million idea. You can thank me later.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so I added this magic fairy dust stuff and I just set the blending mode to screen. So any of you watching, that just gets rid of the black background. Super simple and easy. And I'm basically just kind of adding it around on the trees and kind of creating a little bit of magic here. I'm changing the size and maybe we can rotate it. And
I was going to say skew and rotate a little to give a little more variation.
Yeah. So I wanted to show, I did this before I posted it on Instagram and I wanted to kind of show everyone the end effect before we get too far with it.
Okay.
So let's see, I guess I can just open Safari, Chrome. You're over here in Chrome, so.
Go with Safari.
Okay.
I seem to remember some pixie dust, fairy dust in that amazing Max asset that you made for us with the mushroom.
Yes.
The mushroom in the forest.
Yep.
That was the final touches. Although I think they were fireflies they were supposed to be fireflies, but it was actually like a pixie dust. It's exactly what you're talking about. It was like
Yeah.
you made some kind of pixie dust asset, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
think I may have even used some of those. I can't remember, but yeah, adding some little fireflies. Oh no.
Oh, it's probably because you're not signed in through Safari, maybe. There you go. It'll probably.
Great.
Oh, here. All right.
Fantastic.
Let me take you off screen
Okay.
here for a second.
Thanks.
So I want to remind everyone, for those of you joining, thank you for watching us today. We're with Anna McNaught for another hour or so. We're doing photo compositing and Photoshop using Adobe stock imagery today. If you want to see some of Anna's awesome work with her own photography, you can check out yesterday's stream as well. And we are really reimagining these images and just changing the feel and the vibe with some really cool techniques. All right, looks like you're logged in and good to go.
Yep, I am good to go.
Okay, bring you back.
Now I have to find it. So you can see I've used this before in other images, the little kind of twinkle fairy things. Here it is. So I went like ham on this guy, adding lots of lights. But this was kind of what I was going with, kind of what we were creating. You can see like doing the same effect with the stars up here. Looking at this now, I actually would tone this way down and kind of just in the style that we've been working so far. I haven't like done this as much. I haven't added nearly as many lights. And then I actually never added any pink reflection back here. Just totally forgot about it.
Social comment. I'm noticing this is from December of 2019.
Yeah.
It's brighter. It's lighter.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
Yep.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm just like, there's so much about the date stamp there that is very indicative of the change. Not that the image you're working on now isn't bright and happy, but it's a little darker. It's a little moodier.
Yep. It's so true.
You've been through something since you created this one.
Yeah, I mean, look at it's really funny to see. Let's zoom out there. Wow. That is interesting.
Right? It's interesting. These are the kind of weird things, by the way, that I delve into. I'm like, when was this taken? State of mind. You know.
Yep. I know. And it's actually interesting to see too, because of doing so much work now in the travel space. I really am being careful about like the colors of the cabin and not blowing it out too much. And it's kind of an interesting place to be between this land of like working with art and kind of taking things to the extreme and, you know, playing with it however you want and keeping it realistic enough that a client would want it or that you can post it on a travel page. And I've shared this a couple of times on my Instagram, but I've been starting to kind of stray away from making my art as much because Instagram has become kind of toxic and just very draining mentally and everything. And so I've been working a lot more on my travel photos and doing art for myself versus for Instagram.
Yeah.
So
I think that's really great. And I'm glad you're saying that too, because it needs to be said more.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about this recently, and I don't know I think it has a lot to do with this year and how people are feeling, and it's tough. So if you guys are feeling any of that, you're not alone.
Right.
We are all going through it too. And it's a struggle because you have to try to figure out this balance between showing up for the world and pleasing social media and also still being true to yourself and feeling like you're not burning out.
Yep. And the burnout is real. So
it really is.
Take those breaks, get some air, get some sun, or just light, or just air.
Yep.
Outside air.
Yep. Yeah, we went for a little walk this morning. I was like, I think this is better than laying around, get moving before the stream.
Yeah,
start
absolutely.
to feel good. So okay, so we got some lights in place, and I'm just gonna put these all in a group, and I'm gonna add a layer mask and start to get rid of some of the extra stuff we have going on here.
Okay. It's looking really good though. And to be honest, as much as I like that original one, there is something, the richer, darker tones and colors. There's something very, that one feels definitely like a holiday ad for Macy's or something, right? It's just very bright and sparkly. It's almost too sparkly to use your words, almost too sparkly. This one feels, it's sparkly, but there's something very like, I feel safe with this image.
Yeah, it's so cool to go back and redo old stuff. Like I do it all the time, and it's so interesting to be like, oh my God, like there really has to be something deeper into your inner psyche when you do that, and you're like, this is totally different and has all these different colors. And
we use it in imagery, the remix. We had this actually last year at Max, right? It was like remix the Max logo. We had a competition for that. Yeah. And as an audio engineer and mixer, I actually do a lot of remixing a lot. And I very consciously don't reference the original first. I just try and start fresh and, then see like, how different was it? Maybe. And sometimes it's actually, for me, I'll be honest, sometimes it's not very different. I mean, I kind of similarly, right? I have my techniques and things that I do, and I know what I like. But there was a recent one, in fact, one of my own releases, which is available on Spotify and everywhere that music is sold, called Fear the Q-Tip. And I released it curiously December 2019. And there was a bit of a miscommunication, and I wasn't happy with the mix, which I did, but I didn't wind up doing the final master. Anyway, I wound up remixing it entirely and remastering it and re-releasing it in April this year. And it's pretty different,
Wow. Yeah.
And that was 5 months apart,
Yeah. And that time of the year, like April, March, that was like right when everything was happening too.
Yeah. So it's interesting, right? So the December one, it's actually my problem with it wasn't as pumping and like driving. It's a kid's rock song about Q-tips and the danger of Q-tips. Check it out. Fear the Q-Tip remix.
Oh my God.
The original.
I'm totally going to listen to it.
Fear the Q-Tip remix. But the remix it's edgier. There's something like edgy and a little darker with it, which
I love it.
Back to April. Yeah. It's a little edgy and dark then,
Yeah. It's really interesting to see, to hear anything. And that was kind of my same thoughts with this. Like, I didn't look at the image that I had on my Instagram. I knew I wanted to do this today. After kind of thinking about some things last night and like over the past few days, it was like, this could be kind of fun. And then just now I was seeing it again kind of, and I had looked at one like briefly, but now really comparing them like, whoa.
Right. Now I love making those simple tweaks to the fairy dust by constraining them to the trees. Again, now you just like changed the whole mood again. Now it feels sort of this, now you're kind of unifying the slightly more holiday-ish feel, and it's getting brighter because you drew focus now to those sparkles on the trees, right? So, yeah. Like you lifted it up somehow by removing elements.
Right.
Cleaning it up a little.
I feel like just adding the tree sparkles like makes it so fun too. Just kind of add something.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
Just really makes it feel like this magical cabin that you want to go to, And I think like if these are really Christmas lights and you wanted to get real technical with it, you could get in here and really like push them into the tree and make them reflect on the snow and everything. But it's more for the element of it to have this kind of like magical Christmas feel. I've actually seen this really cool thing that some companies are doing where if you put this kind of stuff into your work or even like stars in the sky, they will add like a diamond dust luster just to those areas, or even like little rhinestones if you wanted to get really blingy and New Jersey about it. But I can say that because I'm born in Jersey, so
I am too, right?
Yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Well, I don't tell most people, but now I guess I've just told a lot of people. So
I know, same. I'm in New Jersey right now, actually. Yeah.
What does that tell you? We're both like, I don't normally say that. Yeah.
I know.
That's funny. New Jersey is a fine state. Yes. It's the Garden State. It's lovely.
Yep. Okay, so we could start to do some reflection with this. Let's see. So we have how much time? Because I did want to show one other example before we get
Okay.
into the critique. I was like, what is it called?
Yeah, and actually, it's more of a hype. I spoke out of turn. It's really more of a hype for Weston. So but we've got plenty of time. We have about a half hour till we'll get into that. So
Okay,
plenty
cool.
more design time. And just a reminder too. So do you currently have any imagery up on stock? You don't yet, right? Not yet.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
I think James might, but I don't.
Okay.
I should definitely put some up there.
And is it under James McNaught or
James Bonanno?
James Bonanno. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's
yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay. That's your professional name. Okay, there you go.
I actually kept my last name because I was like, well, I've built a business around it. I'm also an independent woman.
Girl power. That's right.
Girl power.
That's right. That's how we started the stream. That's how we're gonna end the stream. That's right.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know. My mom kept her last name too, and I was always kind of inspired by that growing up. It's like, it's cool. It's been my identity my whole life. And, sometimes like on cards or stuff, we'll write like James and Anna Bonanno, but
I like it. How is it? I've known you all this time. I didn't know your married last name. No,
yeah. Yeah. One of the 5 crime families too.
Right. Oh. You didn't have to say that, but okay.
I know.
Moving on. All right. And we're getting from elevation a lot. Jersey Shore. Yes.
Yes.
This is why most people from New Jersey don't always say they're from New Jersey because of that show. But
yep.
It's a real deal. Hey, that was a popular show for a long time. You gotta give them credit. They made careers from that. Okay. So this is really looking spectacular again. Oh, no. Okay. So now did you just kind of flip that layer there and we'll start to adjust those reflections? Yeah.
Yep. Just flipped it. Kind of curious to see how this will end up working out and what we need to kind of tweak here.
Tweak and clean up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you were talking about this yesterday, and I imagine it's equally as challenging. I mean, even though here the water appears to be very still, you can see that in the reflection. There's no ripples and the edges are, fairly sharp. So I was going to ask, so yesterday you were using, you didn't use a Gaussian blur, you used a different kind of blur.
Yeah. Yesterday I used a motion blur.
Blur. Right.
Let's see how the Gaussian blur looks.
Because really you want the presence of the light, but you want it a bit flatter and more obscured, obviously, right? For something like this.
Yeah. And I feel like because we actually don't have a lot of motion on the water, we don't have like the ripples, it's just like slightly blurred because of being water. So I feel like this could work. It's kind of, we're getting another one that I haven't blurred yet, but that's
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Looking kind of cool.
I think it kind of fits with the other blur. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, let's see, just layer mask it and should be looking good.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the house reflection and the tree light reflection, it looks pretty close. Like it feels like it's naturally reflecting in there versus, being too bright or, too sharp.
Yeah, and we can go in and tweak it a little. I think first I want to just
get rid of that. Yeah.
Remove all that extra.
Painting out the light. Right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And this is like the kind of stuff that I love doing. Just so meditative.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You know what you're doing. You don't really need to think about it. Just kind of like going for it. Yeah, looking pretty cool. What do you guys think?
This is good, says Elevation.
Should we blur it more?
Well, you know what? Maybe do it and see if it's too far. It might be just right. Again, I'm looking at like the columns and the windows. There's a lot of detail in that house reflection. So I don't know if you want to obscure it too much more. I would almost say maybe even back it off a little because you can see there's very defined lines, right? That water is not, it's probably frozen. Right. I mean, it's not moving. So that might be just right. Maybe even
Yeah,
back it off a
let's leave it
little,
like,
but like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's cool. We'll see how that kind of works. And then we should start to add some pink down in here. So let's see. Got
Thinking
our
about this,
sky.
I just received a whole bunch of Anthropology had like a, no, sorry, Bed Bath & Beyond had this massive candle sale. Never spent so much money on candles in my life as of late.
Ooh, is it
Yeah.
still going on?
I don't think so. I'm sure they'll have
Oh.
another. This was a pre-Black Friday thing, and it was like buy three get three.
Ooh.
Buy three get three. Yeah. So I bought 18. Or I guess I bought 9. Got 18 candles, but I just totally lost my train of thought with that. Oh, holiday. They're burning all over my house right now. I got, holiday music playing. This is really kind of, again, it just feels very warm. There's some very, very warm and lovely about this. It's
Yeah.
speaking to me.
It's definitely getting like the fun holiday vibe. So, whoops, flipped it the wrong way. That was kind of interesting. I was just, as you were talking, I was playing with taking the sky replacement and duplicating it and flipping it. And I don't know if I had something turned off here because I'm like half paying attention to it, but it didn't want to work. It didn't move.
Oh, interesting.
So what I was thinking here is kind of getting it into place. And then I'm going to just remove this layer mask real quick.
Make a new one.
Where'd it go? Didn't want to do that.
It's thinking.
Okay. And then I'm actually going to just add a full black layer mask.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then let's see.
And I was gonna say, this is where you adjust that flow super low, right?
Yeah. Let's get it even lower than that. And bring the hardness of our brush all the way down. I got like nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming over the stream, so it's subtle, right? I mean, you're just lightly affecting it there.
And so I brushed over that tree. Sometimes I like to just do that to kind of get this like nice, big, like brushed look and then kind of touch it back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that in itself is even enough. And we actually have a brighter section of the sky here. So we might want to adjust that a little. Let's see. Okay. I'm like thinking as I'm going.
I was telling my older son last night, I had a no, this was high school. I had a teacher in high school. He was an ex-college professor, and he used to say, he was really funny. This guy was super nice. But being a college professor teaching high school kids, right? It's like a weird dynamic, right? A slight elitist approach to teaching, because he's like, was teaching college, now he's teaching high school kids whose minds are just still really forming. And he used to say, "Are you thinking? You must be. I can smell the wood burning." I still use that to this day, by the way. It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
My parents say that when I'm like, so I was thinking, oh, really? I thought I smelled something burning.
Yeah. Or he'd say, I can hear the crackling, which was also code for you're not thinking hard enough.
Yeah.
If it's crackling, just getting started.
Okay. So I kind of messed up there. So I'm just going to getting all kinds of sloppy here. I'm just going to brush that out.
Yeah. And Mike's asking, are you going to sort of fade in and out the reflective sky to kind of give it a smoother look and less solid, or?
Yeah. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
kind
you
of,
got the flow at 4%, so it's pretty low.
and then like, so sometimes I'll do it kind of like that, and then I'll bring the flow up
Right.
and switch back to black and make sure this is kind of cleaned up, bring that tree back. And we could do this like with a tree brush and kind of get like the edges all perfect.
Right.
But for now, I'm just going to leave it.
Mm-hmm. And I think even just making that subtle adjustment, yeah, it makes a huge difference, because now it feels like positionally the perspective is correct again, you know?
Right.
Yeah. When it
And
was overlaid, you're like, but the tree isn't pink, and the pink
right.
sky behind it wouldn't make the front of the tree pink. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
kind of like what's happening there.
yeah. That, I mean, that looks amazing. It's again, just like little subtle change right there
Yeah.
brings
And
it
then
home.
I'm just gonna do a little Gaussian blur on this, like a tiny bit. Let's see. Oh, not quite there, but looking pretty good. And then I think I would actually maybe even decrease it a little bit, because it's not going to be like that bright in the water. It's going to always be darker in the water.
Right.
And then maybe, whoops.
Now, for those just joining, I was asking Anna yesterday, how much time on average would you typically spend for something like this, And as one might guess, so we did it in 2 hours yesterday, but it could be 8 hours, it could be several days, depending upon whom it's for, where it's going, big client, personal profile, different considerations.
Totally. It ends up just very much varying, because as you could see from the one that I showed, I didn't even pay attention to the reflection at all. I was like, whatever, going on Instagram. I didn't even reflect it. So that was like actually a mistake. I probably didn't like actually mean to do that. But if I was doing client work, if this was like a Macy's commercial, it would be okay. Everyone, like, it needs to be checked 5 times. Like, where am I missing things? Like, how perfect are the trees? Are the lights intact with every tree? Versus this, where we're just kind of playing around. So we at least have a little subtle reflection there. And kind of trying to get it to where it would look natural, because you're gonna see it, but you're also not gonna see much brightness. So
no.
I don't want to spend too much time on that. I want to just put everything back in Camera Raw real quick, do a quick kind of final color edit as we showed yesterday, and how that can really just greatly affect everything. And then if we have time, play with one more quick edit and then do the review.
Yeah, sounds great.
So I'm copying, merging all the layers, and then what I forgot to do yesterday is I actually wanted to make this into a smart object.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you do that too. And now again, for those new to Photoshop, always some newcomers in here. Obviously, you're copying the whole and making a new group of everything. So your Photoshop file is getting larger.
Yeah.
People always ask that stuff, but this is a singular. I mean, I'm sure it's a fairly large image, but considering what's, you're not adding so many additional elements and other layers of physical media. So it's not that much of a hit. And of course, you also now have the ability to save to as a cloud document or direct to your desktop. So, yeah.
I definitely have. I tend to kind of have my files. They usually end up being under 2 gigs, but I have had times where they get like way over that, and then I start to have issues, and okay, so let's go into Camera Raw.
And I always love this kind of seeing your final color processing here.
Me too. It's my favorite. I always surprise myself too. And I always kind of tend to go for like exposure and contrast right away for some reason. I think it just kind of helps give that final look. So you can see, I think what I did on the one I showed on my Instagram is I really blew out the whites.
I was gonna say boosted those whites, right? That's what just gave it that winter wonderland. Again, Macy's, you know, not sponsored, not an ad, hashtag not an ad, but it just felt like that, right? Winter wonderland kind of feeling. You gotta push the whites to the edge.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll like go in and really play with the colors too at the end, and that's a little too much, but just kind of like the final blending of everything. You can see start to get some colors up in the sky changing a little. Let's see.
And Milika is asking, so is this going to be a postcard? Could be.
It should be a postcard.
That's right.
I should make it into a postcard.
On sale now at AnnaMcNaught.com.
Yeah.
Get some merch, right?
I know. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm gonna just kind of playing around, and let's go back into that color grading. Maybe play with this a little bit again.
I was gonna say probably in the shadows you might want to control a bit of the hue in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Doing something.
It's really good.
And then
and you know what? Those last couple of changes, I'm paying attention to kind of the reflection. I'll be excited to see when we click back out and see it fully processed on the image there. But I think you just kind of blended those reflections with this new color changes even better now. Like yeah.
That's what I always love about putting everything into Camera Raw is that it blends all those changes that you made. And I know some people do it by just adding a ton of different adjustment layers, but I really love like this, destroy it, compress it, put it in one layer, and then edit over top of it. And it gives it like that final look.
And a very common practice in, film color grading as well. You do all the individual tweaking on individual cuts, individual clips, individual pieces. 99 times out of 100, though, there's that final, usually done on an adjustment layer, curiously, but it's one adjustment layer with Lumetri Camera Raw like filter to give it an overall blended, graded look. And it just kind of glues everything together,
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Kind of deciding as I go here exactly what I want to do.
By the way, Jessica just said, wow, just saw that Anna teaches some amazing courses. Yes. You just did one, right? Didn't you just have...
I just did a sale for them for Black Friday, which actually everyone watching can still get 50% off because I never took it down. So happy to have you take advantage of that for being on the stream. I have a whole course on glow and actually painting glow and everything, and it's only $13 this week. So
nice.
Good little discount there.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, I could like really keep going with this.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's looking amazing. I mean, let's see, let's do its thing now.
So it's like boom. It's like this magic moment when you do a Camera Raw. It's like it all comes together.
You have to click out of the dialogue. That's what I was saying. You have to click out of the dialogue to really see. I mean, look at that. Look at how now the sky and the mountain, now they're merged. Now it feels right. Before it felt, it didn't initially, and then somehow we kind of stepped away and we were losing some of that blended look.
Right.
And Camera Raw just brought it right back together again.
And if we look at the one we did before, it's like, it's really cool to see. Let me get these.
So you're very small side by side. I know.
Yeah. Because I know it's like already small too, but
yeah. Oh yeah, that works. There you go.
You can really see the color difference. Like this one's just so much more richer and feels so much more like lively and actually has a warmer tone than
it has a warmer
tone previously done.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's cool to see. I'm happy with this, and I might post it. I haven't posted in a while, so
I think you need to post. Absolutely.
yeah. Yeah,
Yesterday's
this is
too. We need
I
yesterday's too.
know.
That was
Yesterday I need
fantastic.
to work on a little bit more, but then I'll post it.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. The artist is
Cool.
never done. That's,
I know.
yeah.
Never. All right. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to show, let me actually save this real quick. That would be important.
Always remember to save. Even still.
I know. Oh my God. I every single week or month, I end up losing at least 1 or 2 Photoshop files because I forget to save. It's
Happens.
bad.
It happens. I know it's a drag, and you learn from yourself, you hope, but it's happened to me too.
Yep. Exactly.
All these years later.
So I just want to show you guys real quick the importance of making, if you are going to do this method of merging everything together and then making it a smart object to go into Camera Raw, the importance is now we can go back in and edit our Camera Raw. Whereas yesterday we forgot to do that. And so once you do it, it's locked.
It was locked. It was destructive. Yep.
Yep. But now we can go in and actually, in looking at this, I kind of want to bring the vibrance down like a hair.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the saturation.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of curious, just like a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Because you already had a lot of contrast in there, so by just kind of dropping those a bit, it'll, probably, yep.
Yeah, so let's see. If it did anything.
Yeah, it looked very subtle, just like it's a little less contrasty.
Yeah.
Which I think is nice. Yeah.
Just a little touch. So cool. Yeah. Love it. Alrighty. So before we wrap up, just wanted to show you guys kind of like a different subject matter.
So no cabins on lakes is what you're trying to tell us?
I know. Oh, I'm sad. Although we still got our lake.
That's funny. Oh, there's another one. Nope.
Yep. Oh my God. What is wrong with me?
You really have this. You got this mountain water thing going on.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think that's one of the things that influenced traveling in a van so much. I'm like, anywhere I can go that has mountains and water. And like a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, when we buy our first house, it needs to be in the mountains and it needs to be on a lake. And my parents are like, good luck.
Yeah, right. So cool.
Yeah. Okay. So what I wanted to show with this one before we composite it real quick was just a different subject matter. And really my point here is, I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the stream. My point here is not to make this into a crazy edit, but just to show you that if you are not a photographer, but you enjoy editing in Lightroom or Photoshop, you can take an image from Adobe stock and you can create your own lifestyle edit from it. And it's up to you if you feel like you want to give credit to the photographer. Maybe you could say this is a collaboration. So-and-so took the photo and I edited it. If you're just doing a lifestyle edit and not compositing, usually if I'm just using pieces of things, I don't always credit the photographer, but that's always up to you. So. Right. Let's see. So we're going to do a Camera Raw here. Again, you could do this in Lightroom and do the same sort of thing.
Right. And for reference, everyone, if you want to see Anna do it in Lightroom, go to yesterday's replay.
Yes.
And you can get the full effect.
Yes.
Doing it natively in Lightroom. Anna, I'm going to pause for the cause for a moment. So I'm going to let you drive for approximately 69 seconds or so.
Okay.
66. We'll see. All right. So
sounds good.
BRB.
All right. See you soon. Okay. So what I want to do with this one is kind of give it a bit of a moodier look. It already kind of has a really good moody vibe to it, but maybe we want to change the colors a little bit. And I can't see the chat, so I'm not sure if you guys are going to be saying anything, if you're going to like this, but Jason will fill me in. So we're just going to play with this and see what we can do to the colors. Really what I want to do here is kind of go into the color mixer and play with some of these greens and maybe her dress color a little bit. So let's bring the greens more into the yellow. And this is what I end up doing in the yellows too. I end up doing this a lot on our travel photos. So we don't really have a lot of green in our photos. You know, this is definitely a very cool vibe that you can do, especially if you bring the green all the way up and then you play with the luminance a little of that yellow and let's say the saturation too. So you get this like really interesting kind of like jungly, like Bali vibe. But we're going to push this more into the orange tones here. And let's see. Again, you guys, I'm just always kind of playing with the colors to see what's going to happen. And I talked about this yesterday of pushing it to the extreme to see how it's going to change. Welcome back, Jason.
Thank you.
I was talking about how I'm kind of giving this like a different moodier vibe and changing, like really focusing on changing the colors in here.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. And you did a whole really fantastic job yesterday using the HSL sliders. So again, want to recommend to anybody yesterday in particular, because you were calling out the different hues as you were going along. If you want to see a great way to use those effectively, check that out.
Yeah, that's always kind of my go-to. Like I go there first, and because I think you can do a drastic edit on a photo just by tweaking colors. And I was just saying to everyone how on our Leave the Map page, we don't do a lot of pure greens. We end up turning them all to yellow greens. So I was saying, if you take your yellow and put it all the way up here and then take your saturation of the yellow down, I was just saying how you kind of get this cool jungly vibe, but how I really like more of this kind of earth tone, like browns.
Yes. And it does kind of add, again, just a couple sliders here. I mean, it's already kind of a slightly, it's like a slight fantasy-like image. I mean, wherever this swing is, I mean, what an amazing location. But
I know.
Your choice of hue definitely adds to that, you know?
Yeah. I think that's why I love this image so much. It already has that vibe. So yeah, I'm kind of doing what I would do for kind of a fun lifestyle edit on here. Let's see. And let's just see how that looks.
Oh, you almost forget what the original looks like, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
This is what is so cool about it. I forgot to copy my background, but I still have the stock.
Yep.
So this was what it started as, and this was how I changed it.
Wow. And, you know, it's funny, too. Looking at what you just did to it, it actually feels more, to my eye, it feels actually more white balanced in a way, too.
Yeah.
In your version, right? This one has that kind of greenish hue. Your version not only feels balanced, but there's also just all this additional cloud detail. That mountain in the distance there seems to pop a bit more.
Right. Yeah. I really like the way this kind of turned out, just with a few simple tweaks. And
if you do say so yourself.
I know, like, oh, good job.
God, I am amazing. Oh, God.
Well, it's funny because you never know how it's going to turn out. You're like, I like this photo, and you start editing it and you're like, oh God, what am I doing? And so I think that like these colors work for it. And what's cool about it is this photo's obviously already edited. Someone probably tweaked the colors, and it's not a raw photo. So they uploaded it to Adobe Stock with the idea that it's ready to use. But I think that you can take many of the photos on Adobe Stock and turn them into something that feel unique to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So now we got that kind of looking cool, and I'm just going to drop in this lake scene.
Okay. All right. This is going to be neat.
I'm going to put her in front of that. I'd be curious, what do you think the sky replacement would do? Would it only be the sky?
I was curious too, because again, you've got that sort of misty, soft edge in the distance on the old one. Oh, you went for this image?
No.
For the swing image. Yeah, give it a shot.
Okay, let's try
Let's
it
see.
out.
Yeah.
Now I'm just gonna try it on everything. Will
That's
it
right.
work
I'm
here?
telling you, 2-3 hours in the rabbit hole and went through all these images I
Yeah.
didn't even like, that I had shot. I'm like, oh, this isn't even good. But
Yeah.
the sky was bad. I'm like, oh, let's see what it would do. And then it suddenly became a great image,
Ah, exciting. All right,
All
it's
right.
thinking.
It's thinking. Got to give
Let's
Sensei
see
a
what
moment.
happens if we even the picture that ooh. Wow, that's
Wow.
cool.
I mean,
All right, again, work here's done. Goodbye.
that's right. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's pretty darn cool. Now I can't quite tell again, like if I'm just going to have you go full screen again. If we were to zoom in there, like it looks like it did a pretty good job in the distance on those mountains. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah, we could clean this up a little.
right. You
It
got
did
a
a
little weirdness there in the middle, in the mid ground, but
really good
look
job
at
with the tree.
super good job with the tree and the
Look
rope
at the
swing. My
swing. Yes.
God, that's and the hair. Look at the hair
Yeah.
there. And
Wow.
okay, I mean, come on,
Mind blown.
it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. It's pretty spectacular.
I want to see some other skies and see what would happen here. No one's going to see me for the rest of the day. I'm just going to be in here like.
Once you get a taste,
Yep.
That's right.
Ooh.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Actually works.
Yeah, that works really well. I think I might have to go with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I want to see some blue skies too.
We're just clicking through presets for the next 10 minutes,
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's legit,
Yeah, I definitely think it needs like a moodier look.
Yes,
and I think
a moodier look.
with the rainbow sky is pretty cool. And I think you could find another looking, ooh, that one's cool too. You could find another rainbow or even, I mean, I love the way her hair is blowing. You could get so creative with this. Do like a tornado in the distance.
Totally right. I was going to say to reflect like the directionality of her hair blowing to the left. You could find a funnel cloud or something crazy.
Ooh,
yeah. And I think that's actually why my eye likes the rainbow, because you've got this kind of diagonal parallel thing happening there.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Even the tree branch is like almost perfect. You see the top branch, it's like angled the exact same position as the rainbow.
I know. Pretty cool. So cool. Yeah, I was looking at it's cool that you can flip it. Mm-hmm. Oh, and foreground adjustments. Oh, so you can change that lighting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you saw it. It's only multiply and screen, but it fairly dramatic, because again, it'll reflect some of you're adding to the foreground elements of the image too.
Right.
Yeah, super cool. Super, super cool.
Cool. So we may not even need our Canada Lake. We can just do everything right here. Yeah, that's really cool.
It's really cool. It looks great. Yeah, I mean, there's so much fun in just experimenting with these features, And again, you think this is V1 of this. I mean, they will ultimately improve, just like they did content aware. They'll improve upon it, and you'll be able to do other things. And and if you haven't already, but that doesn't really apply here. But if you haven't checked out some of the neural gallery stuff, this is for you and our viewers as well. We have this new neural gallery filters that allow you to do, face manipulation, among other things. But more interesting, I think, than that stuff is you have the auto colorize, which I don't know if you've seen any of the demos for that.
I think I might have.
Yeah, so that's part of the neural gallery. It is, again, pretty shocking. And I actually worked on a film a long time ago, like right post college, where they were doing like a black and white colorization, like old school style, frame by frame,
right?
Painting. And it it does feel a bit like that in terms of the output, but it is shocking how good of a
Wow.
job it does, like in detecting skin tone and just, you know, earth tones and sky and light, and it's shockingly good. So that's in the neural gallery.
Okay.
That's for another day, but
Yeah. How do you access that?
I think it's right under the filter menu.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, neural filters. So
Ooh, okay.
yeah.
I'm going to be playing with that today
Yeah.
too.
And it also does like the, you know, you can adjust your face position, your eyes. It does the, you know, the ageify stuff,
Ooh.
hair adjustments. We did it to Conan O'Brien during the Max.
Okay,
keynote.
yeah.
Funny. Yeah. So some of that is, you know, some of it is fun, maybe not always so practical, but
Right. Wow,
but
that's
it does some incredibly cool practical use things too. And
yeah.
again, it's impressive stuff.
It's so cool. Sweet. I'll have to play with that later today.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of playing with the mask here a little, and I was
Mhm.
seeing how I could clean it up. And one of the little things that I do sometimes is I will actually get my blur tool and I'll blur the edges of a mask if it kind of
Right.
has like this weird look to it. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Like the biggest problem here is that these leaves are all kind of choppy, and so
Right.
that ends up being tough. Like you can see, because of the way the image was shot and because it's not a raw image, we're dealing with some of the I don't know exactly what you call it, but where your photos get the lines around black subjects.
Yeah, you're getting a bit of, it looks like chromatic aberration on there, you know,
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
green tinges along the edges there.
yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Just gonna turn this off. And then this was what I was originally going to do, but now I'm in love with the rainbow. So
Right.
I was going to kind of place her like swinging and looking out onto this lake. But I do really love where she is in the mountains and like up on
Mhm.
this hill and with the rainbow. So that's exactly goes exactly back to what I was saying, how I start working on it and I'll have this idea in my head where I'm like, okay, she's going to be swinging over this lake and she's going to be looking out and blah, blah, blah. And
Right.
then I do something and I'm like, never mind. The whole thing
Right.
changes.
Right.
So again, for this one, what I would do is probably the channel layer masking if I wasn't going to do the
Right.
sky replacement, because we do have such a strong contrast between the tree in the background.
Yeah. And luckily very good sharpness on
Yeah.
that as well. So
Yeah.
makes masking that a lot easier too.
So let's see.
Now that I'm looking more closely, that looks like a very dangerous tree swing, really.
I know. I want to know where it is. I'm going to go find it.
Yeah. Like that's not a super thick branch it's hanging off, or whatever that is it's
No.
hanging off of either.
It's probably, I don't know where it
It
is.
looks like a 2x4 or something that
Yeah.
it's hanging from. I mean, what is that? I won't be getting on there, but I'll photograph it though. Yeah.
I think I would get on it.
You think you'd get on it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Too big here.
We went on that famous swing in Bali, and you're like looking at it the whole time, like, is this safe?
Is this safe? Yeah.
What's happening? Do they have any regulations?
That's right. Right. Any safety protocols if something does happen? Right.
Yeah. Just like, is this fly at my own risk? So yeah, this does a pretty good job. Let's see how it turns out. And then you can come in with black brush. Command click, go to your layer, and whoops. Oh, I forgot. I didn't even need the bottom part.
Right.
Totally forgot that I was just getting her. So we're just going to quickly get that out of there. So this was kind of what I was thinking originally.
Okay.
But now I'm not as into it.
Yeah. It's nice.
It's cool, but it's like
cool,
not
but
that moody or interesting, or something with that rainbow just really got me.
something that rainbow, you're right. And, it just, and despite, again, the rainbow wasn't against a beautiful backdrop or anything. It was actually, it looked like it was a cloudy ocean image or something that was sourced from.
Yeah.
It just really, again, it kind of glued the image together. It sold
Totally.
the feeling you were going for. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that way more.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just show the two options. We would need to add some more sky to that one, but yeah, I'm really feeling the rainbow. Simple little change.
Yep.
What does the chat think? Which one do you guys like better?
Tell us in the chat. What do you think? Which one do you like better?
Be curious. Let's see. Now I'm just going to play with sky replacement.
It amazed us before. It hasn't let us down thus far.
I know.
Right? Now this one, you've got good contrast between the mountains and the sky.
Yeah.
But that center area, it got kind of weird with the mask there.
Yeah, the little snowy area.
Mm-hmm. Like it didn't quite know what to make of all that.
I'm not even sure what time of day this is.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm not sure. This has already been color treated, so it's hard to tell if it was like midday or if it was sunlight, like morning. So you got all this light and this. It's very hard to tell, but it was obviously already color treated, and so yeah.
Right. Yeah,
you would know.
That's sometimes what I find hard with some photos that you'll find on Adobe stock is like they've been so color treated that you're like, wait, how do I composite this? I'm not sure what time of day it is, what angle it's from. And so it's just kind of a matter of like filtering through everything.
Right. And that's, again, like that's what you were saying too before is most of the imagery that you find, not only at Adobe stock, but in other stock locations, the intent is that they're sort of ready to go. You said that before, right? Like you're in marketing. I need a cottage on the lake with snowy trees and, Douglas firs. Boom, you've got it. It's done. It's color treated. Just add your text, your font, your logo, and you're done.
Exactly.
So it can be a challenge at times, to make them your own. Looks like rainbow is the favorite looking over at the chat.
Nice. Loving it.
Yeah. More emotion, more meaning, says Alessandra Arcos.
I totally agree.
Olson. Yep. They are loving it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got just a couple minutes left, Anna. So I'm going to go ahead. Why don't we go and just pull up Weston's profile real quickly?
All right.
If you're okay with that.
Yes.
And we're going to call this one Awesome and Done. We love this. The chat agrees. Okay. So here, I'm going to take this out. Let's pull in this real quickly. So this is Weston Fuller, photographer, director, retoucher. And just kind of scrolling through some of his Behance creations. If there's one that you dig in particular, let me know. I'll stop on it. That one looks interesting. Is that like a trident or something?
Wow. Yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty crazy. Let's go into that project. What is this?
Whoa. Is that plastic?
I can't tell. Again, surrealistic imagery there. So, yes. Oh, yes, it is.
I love that.
Wow. Look at that.
Oh my God. His work's amazing.
Oh yeah. This is really nice. Oh, whoops.
Catch and recycle. So cool.
Ooh, I see a VW microbus.
Ooh, love it.
Butterfly. Yeah. This has got your name written all over it, Anna.
Yep.
This is so great. Oh, look, there. It's got a photo compositing tutorial right there.
Ooh, I should take his class.
Yeah. From Adobe Live.
Wow,
Oh, there's a little side by side before and after grading and processing. This is great. Like, this is the kind of stuff. This is so apropos of what we were just doing too. Like, you can just see such a different vibe after the final sort of processed image and look applied.
So cool. I really love his work. It's very like commercial compositing, which I think is so cool. It's something that I have like always admired.
I love it. All right, let's see. Let's look at one more here. Down to the bottom. Good seed.
Oh, cool.
Very cool. Photo illustration project for a clothing company. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
That's really cool.
I think this is cool because something we were kind of talking about yesterday with how a lot of compositing work sometimes is difficult to get hired for based on what certain brands want. You know, they don't want to see like some of the dreamy vibes and whatnot. And what I really like about his work and what I've seen in other commercial photographers is like that high key advertising lighting. And I think companies just like really dig that.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, my friends, we are out of time. Anna, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to just say goodbye now because we're done. But it's been so lovely hosting you. You've been amazing. Again, everyone, check out Anna's work on Instagram. You can watch all the replays here. Check out Weston Fuller's work. We've got Julia coming up with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. So thank you so much, Anna. Stick around, and we will see you again next time, everyone. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.